What if the very person you wronged years ago suddenly reappeared, not for forgiveness, but for something far more sinister? This story isn't just about a return. It's about the chilling ripple effect of a vengeful heart finally unleashed. You don't want to miss this powerful, emotional, and life-changing story filled with lessons that will stay with you. So sit back, relax, and grab your popcorn. Let's dive into this unforgettable journey. And if you are just tuning into this channel, please subscribe, turn on your notifications bell, and don't forget to give the story a thumbs up if it touches your heart. The cloud had been gathering all day. By 3:30 p.m., the sky broke open, and heavy rain poured down over Lagos. People ran for shelter. Some hid in shops. Some rushed to their cars. The street became almost empty, except for one person, Isabella, who was walking by the roadside clutching her bag. Isabella was just 25 years old. She was returning from the NYSC orientation camp and was heading to the bus terminal to board a bus to her village after completing her service when the rain started. She was walking by the roadside when a car coming from behind hit her. She fell and the driver did not stop. He sped off without helping her. 3 hours later, when the rain had stopped, people began coming out from their various hideouts. They saw her laying lifeless by the roadside, bleeding. She was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The doctor said she had passed out 2 hours earlier. Isabella was the only daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Okafor, poor farmers who had spent everything to make sure their only daughter graduated from the university and made them proud. They had prepared everything, food, drinks, and had even invited some of their relatives to come and join them to welcome and celebrate their daughter. It was around 4 p.m. when her mother called her number, but it was switched off. She became worried but did not say it out loud. At about 6 p.m. her father's phone rang. It was her number, but the person calling was not her. It was a doctor. "Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Uchenna from Novamed General Hospital, Lagos. Are you the father of Miss Isabella?" "Yes, my son. What happened? Is she okay? Is she with you?" "Yes, sir. She's in my hospital. She had an accident. She is getting better, but you need to come." "Okay. I will be there first thing tomorrow morning." When he hung up the call, he announced the bad news. Her mother burst into tears. The next day, Mr. Okafor woke early, prepared to go to the hospital in the city, but his wife suggested she go with him. He tried to stop her, but she insisted. They both went to the garage and boarded a bus to Lagos. When they arrived, they went to the hospital. Inside the hospital, the doctor gave them the bad news that broke them. Her mother collapsed on the hospital floor. When she woke up, they took their daughter and went home for the burial. Isabella was a good and intelligent girl, both in the village and in the city, and her burial attracted many influencers, government officials, lecturers, and NYSC members, everyone paying her their last respects. When it was her mother's turn to pay her last respects, she held the casket and said, "My daughter, you have made us proud, but death was so jealous that it took you before your time. I tell you, my daughter, don't rest until you avenge your death. Make that man or woman that ran over you without trying to help pay so dearly that he will beg for life, and life will be far, and he will beg for death, and death will be far." 3 months later, back in the city, Alexander, the one who hit Isabella, was promoted to a high rank in the company he worked for. Alexander was 30 years old but had not married. His parents were worried that they were getting old, but he was yet to marry and give them grandchildren. One evening, on a video call, his father asked him, "My son, when are you getting married? You know your mom and I are not getting younger, and we need our grandkids before we join our ancestors." Alexander just smiled. "Dad, I will marry soon and you will have your grandkids. But I have to make more money and make sure our family name rises higher and my wife and kids live the good life they deserve. Besides, I have not seen my choice." His father said, "You can come to the village. Let us find you a good girl from a good family." "Dad, I can't marry a village girl just because she comes from a good family. What will my colleagues say about me? Dad, it's not good for my reputation. I'm a senior manager in my company." "My son, a village girl with good family background can turn into a city girl with her good character, but a city girl with bad character will not look back when you have problems. Dad, I will not marry a girl with bad character. When it's time, I will bring the woman I want to marry to you. 3 years later, in the village, the spirit of Isabella woke up for revenge. It was around 12 p.m. noon when she pulled herself from the grave with her torn NYSC uniform. She went inside without anyone noticing. She took one of her clothes, wore it, and headed to the city. When she arrived in the city, she went and stood by the roadside at the same point where she died 3 years ago, waiting. At about 3 p.m., Alexander was going out when he saw her standing under the sun by the road. That moment, he was charmed. He pulled up to her and rolled the glass down. "Hey, beautiful, where are you heading to, standing under this scorching sun?" "I'm going down the next street." "Okay, hop in, let me give you a ride." When she entered, he started a conversation. "My name is Alexander, and you?" "I'm Isabella." "That's a sweet name." "Thanks." "You're welcome, Isabella. I was thinking if we could go out and have lunch together, if you don't mind." "Sure, I don't mind," she replied. He took her to an expensive restaurant where he treated her with pricey beverages. As they ate and drank, Isabella asked him, "So what do you do?" "I'm a senior manager in a Masco group of company." "Wow, that's good. I finished my NYSC service 3 years ago, but since then I have not gotten a job. I'm the only child of my parents, and they had high hopes in me. But I think I have failed them." "You don't say that, sweetheart. There is still hope for you. What did you study in school? Maybe I may hire you in our company." "That's good of you, but I studied medicine." "That is not a big problem. I will try my best to see that you have a job in a good hospital." That evening, he took her to a high jewelry store and bought her jewelry, clothes, and shoes. He also helped her change her phone to the latest iPhone. After everything, she asked Alexander to drop her at the place he picked her up earlier, and he did so without question. That night, Alexander called her on video call. They spent the whole night discussing and playing on the phone. At about 2 a.m. midnight, he slept. Inside his dream, all he could see was himself and Isabella swimming in a pool. When he woke up, he was so excited that he exclaimed, "I have finally met her, Mommy, Daddy. I can't wait to introduce her to you." Without knowing he was about to face the judgment of his past mistakes, he picked up his phone and called Isabella to tell her he would be picking her up by 3 p.m. today. They kept meeting and having fun. After 3 months, he proposed to her, and she said yes. He was so excited that he bought her a car. He invited her to come and stay with him, and she accepted. A week after the proposal, he called his father to give him the good news. His father was so happy that finally their son was getting married. He asked him to bring the girl to the village so they would know her, and so she too would know them. When he took her to the village, she was very nice and calm. She cooked and washed plates. The next morning, she swept the entire compound before anyone could wake up. When Alexander's mother woke up to sweep, to her greatest surprise, everywhere was already swept. She was very happy that her son had found a good girl to take as a wife. After spending 3 days in the village, they went back to the city and started planning for their wedding. Alexander asked her, "When should we meet with your parents for the traditional marriage?" "That should be after our wedding. Don't worry for now," she replied. 3 months later, they had an extravagant city wedding that he spent almost half or his entire savings on. After the wedding, she asked for a new car. He bought it for her. When she wanted to start a business, he opened one of the biggest boutique shops in the city for her. Then it began. He started having nightmares each and every night. Whenever he slept, he would see his wife Isabella dragging him to a well or chasing him with a knife. Sometimes he would see himself being swallowed by a river or being chased by a shadow of fire in the form of a masquerade. 2 years later, bad things started happening to him. First was his job. Alexander was in his office when his boss called him in. "I'm sorry, Alexander," his boss said. "The company is downsizing. Your services are no longer needed." Just like that, after 9 years of dedication and effort, Alexander was jobless. He drove home. When he reached the house, he told his wife, who did not say anything. 1 week later, his car caught fire. He lost everything except the house and the small amount of money left in his savings. 1 month later, his wife came back from her shop without her car. "Honey, where is your car?" She said to him, "I was robbed and my car is gone. Honey, I need a new car." "Baby, but you see, I don't have a job now." "Meaning what?" She became enraged. "So you married me to put me into suffering. I need a new car tomorrow, or I will leave this house for you," she said. The next day, Alexander bought a new car for her with his last savings. Isabella stopped cooking food and doing the laundry for him. The nightmares continued. Every time he closed his eyes, he would see all sorts of bad things happening to him. During those sleepless nights, he started noticing something strange about his wife. When he woke up, he would often find himself alone on the bed. But if he tried to open the door to check for his wife in the living room or in the restroom, he would see his wife on the bed staring at him. It kept happening, and he became very afraid of his wife. She started treating him cruelly. He began cooking food and washing her clothes before he could eat. 2 months later, she asked him to sell their house so she could use the money to add to her business. He did so, and they moved into a small 2-room apartment. 2 weeks after moving into the yard, Alexander woke up one early morning and found a note that read, "This is the beginning." But he refused to tell his parents everything that was going on in his life. The next day again, he woke up to find another note that said, 12th April 2018. He was so confused, but still didn't know what to do. He told his wife, who looked at him and said nothing. That day, one of his old friends visited him. He explained to him all the misfortunes that had been falling on him. His friend took him to a seer who told them, "You wronged someone 5 years ago. You took the only eye that someone was using to see, and she cursed you to spend your life with pain." The seer said, "Ask your wife about her parents." Alexander became more afraid. When he reached home that evening, his wife had not returned. He called her, but her number was not going through. He slept that night and saw the worst nightmare yet. He saw himself wet with blood, a knife in his hand, with his parents laying down, and his wife laughing. He woke up sweating profusely. It was around 3 a.m. midnight. He could not sleep until daybreak. At about 11 a.m., he went to his wife's shop, but it was locked. He went back home and waited for her to return, but she did not. He went to bed alone again. At about 1 o'clock a.m., he woke up to see his wife standing in her torn NYSC uniform, staring at him with furious eyes. He held his pillow tightly and asked, "Who are you, and why are you doing this to me? I am your doom. You ended me before my time and killed my dream of becoming a medical doctor and taking care of my parents after years of training me for school." On April 12, 2018, I was going home to my parents after serving my NYSC, and you hit me with your car and did not stop. On that fateful day, I died because you refused to try and save me. You ran off like I was an animal. I'm so sorry, Isabella, please. I was called that my mother was sick. I was rushing to take her to the hospital, and you sacrificed my own life to save your mother? You are selfish. You married me without insisting to see my parents because you had already seen a wife you could marry. And if anything happened, no one would ask you questions. That's not my intention. I'm so sorry for what I did to you and your family. Sorry will not bring me back to life. It will be eye for eye, tooth for tooth. I will kill your mother, the one you sacrificed my life for. Isabella, please. I don't know how to make up for what I did. But if you want to take someone's life, take mine. My mother did not know what happened to you. Alexander, you are a good man. I have forgiven you. But you have to go to my village and tell my parents everything, and you will be free. The next day, Alexander went home to his parents and explained everything that had happened to him. They all went to Isabella's village and met her parents. They explained everything to them. When they finished, Alexander asked them to show him her grave. They showed him. He knelt there and wept. She appeared to him for the last time and said, "Alexander, you are a good man. Take care of my parents. I know you lost your job and everything, but my car and boutique shop are yours now. Goodbye, Alexander." She disappeared. Alexander spent 1 year in the village, paying her respect. After 1 year, he went back to the city and continued the boutique business. 2 more years later, he was called back to the company and was given a higher position. He got married to another woman in a village traditional wedding. Dear viewers, here the story ends. If you are still hearing my voice, that means you journeyed with us to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, like the story, comment, and tell us where you are watching from and what you learned from the story. Thanks for watching.